tickle my funny bone. Dave Culton.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Good morning. Thank you for coming this morning. Many years ago, Wayne Choate told me that a good speech should touch the audience's head, their heart, and their funny bone. But as this is a humorous contest, I'm not going to mess with your head or your heart. I just want to tell you some things that have tickled my funny bone. A few months ago, I heard a speech by Father Gregory Boyle. Father Boyle is a Jesuit priest who rehabilitates gang members in the bowels of Los Angeles, California. And he's very good at it. In fact, he's famous. He has earned a lot of awards. He started cottage industries that have hired tattooed gang members who can't find a job anywhere else. And one of the methods that he uses to rehabilitate the gang members is to have them give their horrendous life stories at civic gatherings. And that is cathartic for the gang members, and it also touches the hearts of those that hear it, so that they will donate freely to Father Gregory's various projects. And some of these gang members really turn out to be good public speakers. He remembers one boy who was so good at it that he collected Toastmaster materials to see how he could become a better speaker. And one day he went to Father Boyle and he said, "Father, I've been reading, and every good speech should have some humor in it, and that humor should be self-defecating." To which the priest said, "No shit?" Things that have tickled my funny bone. A few years ago, I was in Paris, France, sipping coffee or something a little stronger at an outdoor cafe, when a loud ruckus appeared around the corner. And I got up to see what it was all about. And apparently a businessman had parked his car next to the curb, and somebody had pulled their car in front of his right up against his front bumper. And he was absolutely furious. It gathered a crowd because he was shouting and screaming and yelling. He was about to kill someone. And out of the crowd stepped an elderly gentleman who said, "Calm down, I'll help you out." The elderly gentleman stood in the road, stopped the cars, had the man back up on the curb, pull forward, back up, pull forward, back up, pull forward. Finally, he got the car out with no damage to either vehicle. And the man was extremely grateful, even offered him some money. But the elderly gentleman said, no, it's something about his Christian duty. So when the car had driven away and the crowd had dispersed, it was then that the elderly gentleman got into the car that was blocking him and drove it off. Things that have tickled my funny bone. Don Ench, who many of you know, was one of the co-founders of this wonderful Toastmaster Club. And Don, in his youth, was an outstanding speaker with a big, booming, sonorous voice, to the point where he was chosen to be the introductory speaker at all of the Toastmaster International contests, which he did for many years. But as Don got older, they chose a younger Toastmaster with a bigger, boomier, more sonorous voice. And Don was okay with that. Sort of. Several years later, when Don was at a contest, the president of Toastmasters International approached him in a panic. He said, "Don, our introductory speaker is nowhere to be found. Could you possibly fill in for him?" Don, of course, said yes. He ran upstairs, put on his brand new suit, a flashy tie, which for Don was black with a little fleckle in it. He was very conservative. And he rushed downstairs and he jumped up on the stage and really gave the performance of his life. Very animated. I think I told you he was conservative, didn't I? Lots of laughs for some reason, but you're a very, very good job. And when he finished, he went back to his table, and you know how Toastmasters pass these little white notes to anybody who's given the speech, telling them how good they are and how well they did and evaluating them? Well, at the table was an elderly, feisty lady who knew Don very well. She passed him a little note. And he opened the note, and it said, "To Don Ench, for an outstanding, unforgettable performance. P.S. Don, your fly's open." Things that have tickled my fancy. When you're preparing a Toastmaster speech or any other speech, you should go back over it and see where there are places that you can insert a little humor. And if you do that, maybe, just maybe, you too will be able to tickle someone's funny bone. Mr.